morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Safi Khan. I'm the Manager of Product Marketing at Silex. And now let's get into the details of this SX-ULPGN module. So the first thing that I'd like to highlight is that it's a very low cost and hostless IoT module. So you can get this entire module for less than $10 MSRP, which means that in hostless mode, you can eliminate the MCU cost and your entire solution for adding Wi-Fi, as well as your entire IoT application running natively will cost less than $10. Our evaluation kit is available on the Arrow page now for purchase. We have 800 kilobytes of on-chip memory and 2 megabytes of flash in the module. So that's suitable for most hostless IoT applications. And I'd also like to point out that, yes, it is hostless, but one of the Silex value adds is that we have also enabled a UART AT command set for this module. So I'll talk in detail about the capabilities of the AT command set in a later slide. But for those customers who may not want to move away from their current MCU and they're looking for a low-cost single-band Wi-Fi module, then SX-ULPGN is a good choice where they don't have to develop any code on our module. They just talk to it over our UART AT command set. It's fully all-join capable today from the All-Seen Alliance, mainly sponsored by Qualcomm. And then coming soon, we have cloud connectivity, Apple HomeKit, and Google Weave. So how do you relatively position this product? This slide will kind of give you a little guidance on where this module sits. We also have from Silex the SX-ULPGN, which is $10 to $15, but also requires an external MCU. The good thing about the ULPGN is that it's dual band, so it has 5 gigahertz support. It has SPI driver as well as a UART AT command, and it also in industrial temperature. The ULPGN is commercial temperature today. So I'd like to point out, again, back to the Silex value add, that our engineering support and services, help convert opportunities into production. Our UART option eliminates the requirement for driver porting, so that makes the adoption much more easier if that's what the customer wants. But then if they are willing to go a step further and develop a hostless application on the MCU inside the ULPGN, then they can actually get to the lowest total cost solution. This slide is basically showing you what's inside the module. So the QCA4010 is on the left side of the slide. As you can see, it has a complete baseband and MAC, a CPU and peripherals, and onboard memory. And then on the right side, what we do is we take the QCA4010 and we build a module. The module is basically FCC, IC, and CE certified for North America and Europe. So it's pre-certified. It has an RF front end and antenna, as well as 2 megabytes of SPI flash to store your code, crystal, and basically all the peripherals. This slide, I think, already has been covered in some sense. So I'd like to just highlight the fact that when you add Wi-Fi to an IoT application through the SX-ULPGN, you can offload the network stack, so your complete network security is being taken care of, as well as a list of peripherals which support typical IoT applications where you can have PWMs to drive LEDs or motors. You have ADC for sensing, GPIOs for interrupts or buttons and other things on home automation and lots of applications. For low power, we have an internal 1.2 and 1.8 volt regulator, and so that has benefit for making it suitable for battery-operated applications. So I want to touch a little bit more on the different use cases in the hostless mode. So you can think of the ULPGN as primarily a hostless MCU inside solution, but it has actually three kind of use cases. It has UART AT command set, which allows the software on the host to basically talk over serial interface and add Wi-Fi connectivity. And there is a SPI interface, although we have not enabled SPI as of today, but it is capable of doing SPI at a future time. And the hostless application is the most appealing one for low-cost designs where the entire software is running entirely within the ULPGN module. So what's inside the hardware? We have basically the QCA4010 chip has effectively many GPIO pins which are general purpose, but they have a complicated multiplexing structure behind them. So depending on your user's application, you can select some functions to come out on some pins. So the evaluation kit that you will get from Silex through the Arrow website, as configured for that EVK, we basically provide one SPI master, one debug UART, one high-speed UART. This high-speed UART also has flow control, I2C master, and then one I2S if you want to have some audio applications or other things, 2 PWMs and 2 ADCs, and 6 GPIOs that can be used for interrupts or driving pins or any general purpose function, as well as the full JTAG. So if you don't use JTAG, you gain a lot of additional GPIOs that you can use for other things, but for the EVK evaluation, having JTAG is very useful. So if JTAG is enabled, then this is the list of peripherals that you can get. And basically, we support up to MCS7, so you can do 72 megabits per second PHY, and as you're able to get 20 megabits per second network throughput. It's 46-pin design, 30 by 16 millimeters and 2.6 millimeter height, certified, and internal antenna. There is an option for an external antenna, but that is a custom SKU that can be designed for particular opportunity. So as I promised, I have a slide on our Silex UART AT command set. So it's a complete serial to Wi-Fi media converter. There's no host driver required, so that makes the customer enablement easy. And it expands the reach of this module into hosted solutions. So we have developed it here from scratch in Silex, so it's comprehensive and flexible, so it can run on the debug UART, which is the default from the QCA release, but we also enabled it to run on the high-speed UART, so it can increase some of the throughput. It is based on the original Hayes AT serial modem command syntax, so it supports all of the commands as defined in the Hayes protocol. IPv4 is the standard UART support, but we also added IPv6, and then the configuration can be saved and loaded, and also it supports OTA firmware update, which makes it robust enough to allow customers to use it in their MCU hosted solutions. So a little bit about how to order these parts. We have the SX-ULPGN module, which is available in a sample pack as well as a bulk production pack. So the sample pack will come in a MOQ of 10. So you order a minimum order quantity of 10. And then the bulk pack is a reel of 1,000 units. The EVK, which is now available on Arrow in stock, which is SX-ULPGN-EVK. So what comes in our EVK? What we did is basically we combined the EVK hardware and the module with a USB to UART cable. So this cable has 3 pins for the UART. This is the debug UART that you connect to, as well as power, 5 volts. So your PC USB port can basically power the entire EVK. It has an internal antenna, so you don't need anything else. You connect this, and we already load this with a Silex image that we built from the QCA software release. The JTAG is enabled on it by default. So if your customer wants to get the Silex UART AT command image, which we built from the 1.1 release, you can contact Silex, and we will be happy to provide the UART AT binary image through our website. So this is a complete evaluation kit. So once you connect this to your UART, to your PC, you basically bring up a serial terminal like Hyperterm or TeraTerm, and you can bring up the SDK shell, and then you can evaluate the radio performance. This is the QDN page, so I just thought I'll highlight some of the key areas on that page that you might find useful. On the left side, under Tools and Resources, you can download the hostless SDK release from Qualcomm, and that is mainly needed if your customer is capable to develop their own hostless application. However, it's not needed if all they want to do initially is to evaluate the radio performance. The Silex image is already in the EVK, so once they are moved beyond the evaluation phase and they want to develop a hostless application, they can download the QDN release, and then they can build their application and prepare an image that they can download. And then on the QDN page where it says SX-ULPGN Hostless Wi-Fi Internet of Things Platform, the link actually points to the Arrow purchase link. If you click on that, you will basically come to this page where currently it's showing 18 EVKs are in stock, and the data sheet is available, and you can order it from Arrow today. These two product pages are at silexamerica.com. If you come to the Silex website and go to Connectivity Solutions, we have a product page, and then we have an EVK page. And in both of those pages, we actually drive a lot of traffic to these pages. And when the customer clicks on where to purchase, it will point to the Arrow purchase page that I showed before. This is what comes in the box. So this is, I guess in this part of the presentation, we'll just walk you through a couple of slides on how to bring up the EVK. So once you open the box, you basically see the EVK in the bubble wrap. You get the USB to UART cable, and you see a paper insert, which is our quick start guide. This quick start guide is what I'll walk through in the next two slides to show you how easy it is to bring up the radio and start doing some tests with it. So the first page of the quick start guide will show what's in the box. Like I said, there's three things in the box: the EVK, the cable, and this quick start guide. And the way you connect the cable to the quick start guide is shown on step 1. You connect the UART cable on jumper J1, and it shows the color coding and which pin number. And then for power, the red wire connects to J4, and once it's powered up, you basically connect through using TeraTerm and 115.2 kilobits per second baud rate, no parity, 8 bits, and 1 stop bit. So standard UART connection. Once your COM port is set up, you are ready to go. The SDK shell from the Qualcomm SDK has a full list of commands that you can use for throughput test, connection to the AP, adding credentials, etc. So all those things are documented in QDN, where you basically can download the SDK user guide. On the back of our quick start guide, we show an example of commands that you use to connect the EVK to a Wi-Fi network. And once you do that and enter the security password and obtain a DHCP IP address, you basically are basically connected. So the radio is ready to go. This black screenshot will show you the shell prompt, and then you can enter more commands on it. And this quick start guide will also have links to the product pages that I just talked about. So I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.